George Morgan here and Jack Canat. All the lights are currently lit here on track, and it is go, go, go!
Contact through the Mercedes teammate.
Denoso with a crafty maneuver up the inside. Masterclass from the Chilean.
Crucial championship points on offer here.
Do not count out Danny Berezne.
Longe has done the job. This is for the win between these two.
Freddie Rasmussen wins the United States Grand Prix.
Alfie Butcher wins for the first time ever. Lucas Blakely takes the championship. It's Barry Foreman.
Jarno Opmeer is your champion.
And here we are. Welcome everyone and a very good evening. Welcome to round 8 here at PSGL PCF4, where it's time for the Dutch Grand Prix. We're heading to Zandvoort. I'll be your host for tonight. My name is Sky, and joined in the commentary box again after a few weeks sadly apart. Back again. Max, how are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you, Myth. Pleasure to be back once again, and especially alongside you. It's been a while, but yeah, pleasure to have you back here, Myth. You missed out on a chaotic British Grand Prix, but you're back for your home race, so hopefully, with the way the standings are looking, we should have a very spicy evening of action.
Yeah, and I think without any further ado, let's quickly go to those standings, because I just had a quick look at it, and it looks amazing. Championship leader Campbell Adams did not get further than 10th last week out in Silverstone, but still keeps him the championship lead with 52 points. But now in second, Alexander Dimas with 50 points, only 2 away. Then it's Exafox, who sadly has Lighty with that second place in Silverstone, moves up now into 4th place, 45 points, but only 1 ahead of your race winner last week out, Bogdan Moldovan, who is also our first repeat winner this season, and that after 7 races is not too shabby at all. So as you can see, a lot of drivers still quite close to one another, top 7 actually within points of 1 race. So where you normally would expect, Max, this is around the time of the season that we're starting to get rid of people that could potentially be in the championship fight. It seems like we're adding more and more to it.
Yeah, it certainly does. I mean, some of these drivers into Silverstone last week were a good 20, 25 points back. They're now 6 or 7 behind. So it's to play for here still in the championship fight. Of course, we only have 5 rounds to go, including this one. And it is still oh so close after the 7 rounds we have had so far. And it's going to just remain at this level of tightness because, to be honest, except from maybe Campbell Adams at the start of this season, we've not really seen drivers be overall too consistent with their results. And that will bring that closer action because we don't know who's going to win each week in and each week out because, of course, these drivers not being the best at consistency, especially Exafox, who was so strong at the start of the season, past 2 races, 2 DNFs. So, yeah, it's going to be all about trying to maximize the points scored and what you can do with the points at hand and what the other drivers can do and trying to capitalize on some poor performances. And if you're able to do that, certainly see yourself lead this championship and win it come the end of the season.
Yeah, you definitely want to be within that championship fight before we head out for a holiday break with 2 races spare. So tonight we have Zandvoort, and next week we have the Jeddah Kernish Street Circuit in Saudi. After that we have our 2-week break. So before that, with 3 races to go, you want to be within that championship fight. And at the moment, as we mentioned, we have a lot of drivers still up for that, and I think tonight is going to be extra spicy. Now, we've seen some racing action on Zandvoort before. For me here at PSGL, it will be the first time commentating on this track, but I believe in qualifying, which we'll be heading to shortly, we could be expecting some low 108s, perhaps if one driver really goes above and beyond, a 107. What are your predictions for quali tonight, Max?
Yeah, I reckon we're just going to stay within those 0.8s. Maybe a 0.1 or a 0.0 is what I'm expecting this evening. If we do see someone into the 1 minute 7s, I'll be very, very surprised. But the first driver to be setting a lap time around the circuit, Adam Schummer in his kick Sauber, now heading into turn 2, which then leads you straight into turn 3. Turn 2 is all about trying to get that braking point perfect to get your car into the right spot for that bank left-hander as we now head through turns 4, 5, through 6, and now into the long right-hander of 7. You keep it flat through here, down to 6th gear, run it all the way to the curb on the outside, and then into turn 8. Once again, flat through there. Then you give it a little dab on the brakes into turn 9, run it out to that left-hand curb, swing it back over to the right-hand side, keep it in 4th gear, just use the natural understeer to guide the car to the outer edges of the circuit as we now head down into turns 11 and 12. Of course, it will say purple for Adam Schummer because he's the first driver to be setting a lap time. He's the first driver to be getting these sector times on the board. So as he now heads into turn 13, it'll be DRS open as you head round the banking. Very bumpy through here, easy to unsettle the car as he's going to keep it nice and tight to that inside line. What can Schummer do? The benchmark, it's a 108.412, a very strong banker lap. Let's see what the rest of the field can do. Menno now coming up to the line. What can he set? He's a 9.0. Isaac Lee only 1 millisecond separating the top 2. Dimas into the 0.3s, and the times are now coming in thick and fast. And Lighty now reaches the top of the times. Last time out was pole 6 with an 8.197 already.
Yeah, it's a great first lap for Lighty. He is one that's been on in qualifying many times before, but the fact we're already diving into the 108.1s really does show that we might be diving into the 7s and not too long from now. In the meantime, I want to see what, well, as Theo Bones is now coming through the Arie Luijendijk, which is the final corner. He's now going to come across the line. Not the best lap so far with the P12, but aside from Bogdan Moldovan, who has just started his lap, Campbell Adams has also just started his, so let's watch the championship leader as he's making his way through turn 5 and then 6 Slotermakers and then into Schijfvlak, which is 7. Going to be some tough corners here. Really need to watch out with the curbs as well, as some curbs you can take a little bit more than one another before swinging it through in 9. And then turn 10, I find turn 10 surprisingly one of the most difficult turns in this on this track, because it's very easy to understeer going into the corner but also the exit of the corner as he now goes through the Hans Ernst chicane. Just 2 more corners to go after this one, and Campbell Adams seems to be on for a pretty decent lap as he's now getting into the banked area. This is always the most beautiful track, the most beautiful bit of the track, I should see, where, at least in the past, it used to be you were coming out of the forest. We saw the old layout with Zandvoort, but for Campbell Adams, he has opted to abort his first run and won't be setting a lap time for now, as Bogdan Moldovan decides to do the same, but he was 2/10 up on what Campbell Adams was able to do, and I don't think Bogdan's lap was too bad at all.
No, of course, most drivers do it if they feel like they've made a bit too much of an error. But for Bogdan Moldovan, could be a little bit of a risky play if he was on for a decent lap. Of course, his track, though, going to be ever improving. It will constantly be getting quicker. The more the cars go around and round, there'll be more grip to find, and the time's constantly going to be getting quicker. Lucas Beisner has, for some reason, stayed out even longer. I don't know if he invalidated that first attempt and then went again. Of course, out of turn 3. Very easy to drop the rear or just go a little bit too wide and invalidate your lap time. Some more drivers now heading out onto their outlaps, but crucially here, Myth, Lighty, who got pole position last time out in Silverstone, was able to back that up with a 2nd place and lost it at the very death down into Stowe over Bogdan Moldovan. Once again, at the top of the times, it's seeming that over the years, upped his form and could be a serious championship contender after this evening.
Yeah, and if he continues that streak that he's been doing in the last few races, he can move himself up closer to the likes of Alexander Dimas and Exafox, who are currently just behind him. We're now watching Alexander Dimas, who of course is driving his home Grand Prix here tonight, so expecting a lot from him as he's now about to start his 2nd qualifying run. Should be able to do quite well and will need to do at least one better compared to his 7th place last week out in Silverstone. He's only a few points away from championship leader Campbell Adams, so tonight definitely has a great opportunity to move into first. It's a big slide coming out of Tarzan through Gerlach and into Hugenholtz. There's always a very tricky part of the section. We see that he's struggling a little bit, keeping that car straight as he's now making his way towards the end of the first sector. We have to see some 23s here, but he's already a 10th and a half down, and it doesn't look like Dimas will be improving on this lap.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he will at this point. He's still going to push on for now, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do see him abort quickly. Let's just check what that middle sector split will be for the Red Bull. That would be the big give or tell on this lap. Will he carry on down by half? Surely not going to continue that one. Xbox is on a lap time, currently sitting in second place. He's down by 10th of a second as well. Not many drivers finding time so far, and Xbox all over the curb and off the road. The Aston Martin just lucky enough to avoid the wall, but takes out the 50-meter board in the process. Chris Benitsky goes up into second place. He only just beats Exafox by 100th of a second. Lighty is not up on his lap time either. He's struggling to find time around this downhill circuit, but he's now down by 1,000th. He found half a 10th in that middle sector, and now it's all to play for into turn 13. It's all about his exit, but a big slide of oversteer. Surely now he's not going to have the time in hand to continue this lap and get an improvement. No, he comes into the pit lane. Gottschalk went up into 4th place with an 8.322. Schummer is on a lap time. I think there's more drivers heading up to the line. There is a Williams driver, I think, of Campbell Adams now heading up to the line. So let's see what the championship leader can do. Heading through turn 14 with the DRS wide open on the back of that Williams. It's so slippery in a straight line, and he goes 6th fastest, only just behind Adam Schummer, very close within that mid-pack. Isaac Lee is 1.4 seconds down. Adam Schummer's invalidated and come back into the pit lane. Bogdan Moldovan isn't actually on a lap time. He's used all his batteries, so I think he must have invalidated his last attempt. I think that is going to be it for the rest of these runs. But Dimas already coming out for another run in this session.
Yeah, we saw that Beisner was still on a lap as he had a big moment exiting out of turn 9. He's now down 4/10 in that second sector. Another big slide coming out of the Hans-Ernst chicane, so he will have to abort there, as most drivers, as you mentioned, are starting to get back into pit lane. Most in pit lane. Lighty also exiting already. I think most drivers will be going for 4 runs today. But if they hurry up at this pace, they might be able... No, I don't think they'll be able to do one more. But some drivers might still make an attempt, especially if you abort early and can resume quickly. Because as we can see, Dimas is already making his way through former Kumo and towards Ari Luijendijk, which is here, turn 14, your final turn of the track. As he's now going to speed up. It felt a little bit late when he went fully on the power. But still, 8th gear, braking a 314, seemed to be quite good as he keeps it nice and tight through Tarzan. But I see some darker clouds up ahead, and I'm not sure if that's any cause of action for some of the drivers, as Dimas is now through 3, out through 4, and towards 5. And we have to see that first sector time. Last time around, this wasn't the best sector, and also here, he's lost a little bit of time. Dimas is not too comfortable with that first sector so far, but in the second sector he's a lot quicker, and we see through the Masters turn 8 he went very quickly with a big moment now on 9, and that will also compromise his turn 10 as he has another moment there, and I think he's going to lose a little bit of time at the checkpoint for 2, and that is indeed 2/10. So Dimas also won't be improving, sadly, but perhaps Exafox will be able to do a bit better.
Yeah, let's see what Exafox can do. Of course, was down in the by about half a 10th in the last time. He went through sector 1 and about half a 10th again. So he's now heads through turns 8 and heading up into turn 9. Of course, that's where he made that costly error last time around, going all over the curb and nearly straight on into the wall. Now into turn 10. Slowly bring that power back up so you don't slide the rear end of the car around. Got a few cars in front of him. That might cause a little bit of a distraction to the Aston Martin. He's losing more time. He's 900ths down on his lap time now. Nearly a tenth of a second lost so far over the first 2 sectors. Unless he made a big error out of the final corner, there will be no improvement, you would think. So keeping it as close to that right hand side as possible. Lighty now with a 1 minute 8.028. A brilliant lap time there from the Alpine. Didn't know he was so far round on his lap, but a brilliant lap time to get him into the point zeros, and now 2 tenths clear of the rest of the field. We did see Exafox dive into the pit lane once again. Benitsky up in second place at the minute. He's down through the middle sector, but let's see what he can do. Coming out of turn 13 now, the Haas driver can use every last drop of that battery deployment, but comes into the pit lane as well. Those clouds are getting more and more menacing over this circuit. Adam Schimmer invalidated. He's going to go again. Gottschalk down by half a tenth in the middle sector. There's Ferrari to the line. He also invalidated. That was Alessandro Finn. No, sorry, that was Menno, who invalidated that lap. Dennis Lamrock. Gottschalk up by a tenth and a half. There was Lamrock coming up to the line as well. So what can Gottschalk do as he now heads into turn 13? The Mercedes driver looking to put himself onto the front row of the grid. Of course, he can still come out of tonight as your championship leader. Leads up to 4th place. Gottschalk, he goes up into second. He does find a bit more time in that final sector, but still nearly, just over, a tenth away from Lighty. Will that lap actually be beaten or even got close to in this session?
Well, at the moment, it seems like that lap time was quite something by Lighty. He was well over 2 tenths clear of the entire field when he set that lap time just now. That is now a little over a tenth, with Gottschalk putting one closer. I think some of the drivers definitely are going to get closer, but it's very hard to beat Lighty's lap time, and perhaps the only driver that can still do it is Lighty himself. But I'm also still expecting more from Dimas, who's currently in pit lane, because he has not improved on his initial run. And with 4 minute 25 left on the clock, I feel like he only has time for one more timed run, as most drivers do. Currently just going through here quickly to see if anyone is on a quick one. Gottschalk definitely is not. Isaac Lee neither. I think Kai just set a lap time, although he's using quite a bit of ERS. Let's just see how quickly he comes around the final few corners, if he keeps it tight, but I think he's going to dive it into pit lane as well. He won't indeed come close enough. So that's now all drivers into pit lane except for Beisner. And now we have to wait who leaves that pit lane first, who is going to start their final runs now. But I don't think we have to worry about the weather for now, Max.
Yeah, I don't think we do. It's just getting a little bit overcast, and that's all that will be when it comes to that weather front. Just a little bit of a scare on the drivers, and that would have been lingering in their minds a little bit throughout those few runs, to get them in instantly and as quickly as you can. And there could be a possibility of rain, but it doesn't seem so. We will have the drivers get ready for one last flying lap in this session, and this is what it all counts for. No more attempts at it. This is your last and only run of your session, and there will be no attempts at a retry. We have drivers coming out onto the circuit now. First one is going to be the Red Bull of Alexander Dimas. He likes to lead out on these runs. He's currently sitting in 10th place, and that was not good for somebody sitting second in the standings and currently behind most of his championship rivals. So for Alexander Dimas, a very, very crucial lap, but finding at least a tenth of a second would actually promote him up onto the second row of the grid. So it just shows how close this field is, that just a tenth can gain you a good 5-6 spots in this session.
Yeah, and the good news for Dimas, though, if he looks behind, that gap is almost a tenth as well. So he is at the place of improvement. Beisner only 1,000 ahead. Kai 4,000s ahead. Then it's 200s ahead, Campbell Adams. And then the gaps start to get a little bit bigger. But if he can string it together, I think Dimas will definitely get close to that front row, if not the second row. But we're going to find out now as he makes his way around turn 13 and 14. With under 2 minutes left on the clock, it means that these laps have to be it. These laps have to count. It looks like Dimas is a little bit quicker on that main straight. He did get, no, actually just a kilometer off, 3:13 this time. Goes through very conservatively through Tarzan, now through Gerlach and into Hugenholtz. Does keep a little bit of a lower line, but I don't think that seems to be the fastest line. But we've seen Dimas struggle a little bit in the first sector. He's losing about a tenth and a half to most of the drivers here, but now this time around he's only 2 thousandths down on his own first lap time, so he might be able to improve a bit more. Now then, through Masters, into your nameless corner, that is 9, but he does do so nicely. Had oversteer her before, keeps it tight through CM.com corner. It's also the namesake of the track as he has a big moment outside 10, and that is lap done for. And I'm not sure if he'll be able to harvest enough energy to go for another one. Is 2 tenths down. And it looks like that's qualifying over for Dimas. Will be surely disappointed with that one.
He certainly will, sitting second in the standings, 2 points off Campbell Adams. I mean, the likes of Lighty and Exafox are at the top of the field. That will be a very disheartening qualifying session for the Red Bull driver. That is Tailborn's just starting a lap time. Alessandro Finn to the line. He goes up to 6th place. Where does Biernitsky go? He stays in 3rd, but he actually aborted that previous attempt, so he is going to go for a lap time now. What's Daniel Gottschalk doing? The Mercedes driver heading through the middle sector. He's just coming out of turn 10. His teammate will be the next driver to head up to the line. That will be Lucas Baesner, currently sitting in 10th place. Gottschalk down by a tenth and a half, so he won't improve by enough, you would think, in these final few corners. Baesner aborted his last run. He's going to go again now. Campbell Adams goes up into 2nd place. A brilliant lap time there from the championship leader, who is under immense pressure so far, especially after a poor result out in Silverstone. Lighty not improving. Biernitsky is not improving either. Exafox has made a mistake. He's lost his front wing while this has been going on. There is the Red Bull of Farinelli now coming up to the line. He's got on a 8.7. Can he at least get off that back row of the grid up to the line? No, he cannot. Slowest of all for Farinelli. What is Biernitsky doing in that middle sector? He's also now just lost his front wing. He's got off at the chicane as well. So it's looking like Lighty's pole position is in his hands once again. It'll be a back-to-back pole sitter here in PSGL PCF4, and he did it on his 2nd attempt of things. So for Schummer, as he's now heading up to the line, where can the kick Sauber go? He goes up now to 6th place. Exafox, who was 4th at one point in this session, now down to 7th. So a horrid end to qualifying for him. Bogdan Moldovan going up to 8th. Kai's not on a run. Baesner now heading up to the line. Of course, he aborted his last lap. He does not improve either. And that is all the drivers setting their lap times this evening. And just like what we said last week, it is the Alpine of Lighty on pole position. But can he turn this one crucially into a race victory? And if he does that, the championship lead could well and truly be his at the end of this evening.
Yeah, and also great news for Campbell Adams, who comes through in 2nd, seeing his nearest championship competitors, Exafox in 7th and Dimas in 12th. But pole position, Bible's a 10th for Lighty, and it's Gottschalk 3rd, followed by Isaac Lead. Then it's Chris Brzezinski and Adam Schummer, Exafox, Alessandro Finn, Bogdan Moldovan, last time race winner, and Kai in 10th. And following Kai, we have Lucas Baesner, Alexander Dimas, Dennis Langrock, Menno de Bever, Theo Bones, and Daniel Farinelli in P16. 16 drivers that we have tonight. Fairly good qualifying session, where it actually took quite a bit of time for some drivers to improve on their runs, but most of the drivers not setting their fastest runs in that final lap max.
It just seemed maybe the track conditions with that bit more of an overcast tinge to things just made the track a little bit too cool when the drivers weren't able to get their tyres up to temperature, and that really did play a factor in that qualifying session. So it's going to be interesting to see what the race will be like. Of course, we are having this lobby restart once again, like usual on this game, to turn the collisions back on. But crucially, as you said, for Campbell Adams, his championship rival, the main championship rivals are behind him. And with Lighty in front, of course, the only driver in front of Campbell Adams, we know how quick he is in the races. could the Williams man finally pick up his first race win of the season?
Well, we're going to find out about that in a couple minutes' time as the drivers are currently retiring and are getting ready for that restart. And we'll be heading over to a quick break. Alright, so here we are then once more after our little break. We've just seen all the drivers retire from the session, so we're going to get ready for our race tonight. 36 laps around this 4.2 kilometer track, and I think that gives us a little bit of time to look at the track map and to show you what we'll be racing at tonight. If I can get... That's the right button. So we have Zandvoort today, 14 turns, 2 DRS zones with a distance from grid to T1, 215 meters. The most victories ever in a real F1 car for Jim Clark, which is 4 in total. But tonight here at this very, very short track, we're going to see a lot of action after Lighty just set that pole time of a 108.0. We were expecting low 108s. Perhaps a very high 107, just didn't manage to get into that, but almost a tenth of a margin, especially on quite a short track, Max. That is really impressive by Lighty.
It really is, to have that much of a gap over the rest of the field. At a circuit which is only 1 minute 8 seconds, which is one of the shortest times on the calendar. I think only beaten by Austria on terms of time. Around a circuit, to find a 10th on everybody else is really, really impressive. And then to the majority of the field, he was a good 2-3 tenths up. So, yeah, really, really strong lap time there from Lighty, the Super Swede. So we shall see if he's able to pack this one up into a race victory. Of course, with this circuit being a lot tighter than Silverstone was, not as many overtaking opportunities. We could certainly see him hold on to that one, but he needs a good start like he got in Silverstone. It's a short run to that first corner, so anything can happen. Campbell Adams could still maybe throw one up the inside, but we'll have to wait and see. Of course, they're both thinking of the championship picture, and that really is going to be the make or break scenario. It's going to be all about the championship. Drivers will want to be keeping their front wings in check and not go for too many risky moves, especially if your names are Campbell Adams, Alexander Dimas, or Exafox, because especially Exafox, he would not want 3 DNFs on the bounce, because if he does that, he could really, really wish his championship hopes goodbye.
Yeah, he's starting to fall out of grace in that sense, and that despite being a championship leader for the majority of the season. But as you mentioned quite nicely there, Max, sends into turn 1, I think are definitely going to happen at the start. The way that turn 1 Tarzan is shaped really makes it for late braking. You could push drivers a little bit outwards without it being too much chaos, but if you do it a little bit too much, they'll be out on the grid, and you'll definitely get a report sent over to you. But yeah, still, the outbraking into turn 1, this will be our main overtaking zone. I think on other places of the track would be very, very hard to overtake, especially into chicane 11, 12. Even though you have a DRS zone just prior to that, it's very hard to get close to someone after turn 10. So only with a tire offset, it might be a little bit easier. As in terms of strategy, I do expect most of the drivers to either start on the softs or the mediums. As we've seen on the Netherlands before, that the tire deck is not very high, so most of the drivers will be swapping to the hards quite early on, and some drivers might even do a soft to medium if they really want to risk it out. And there's always the risk of a safety car, and that is due to the gravel traps that we have here. If there is an accident, there will be a serious one. That will cause a safety car, and then we might see strategies shift a little bit. So it'll probably be a very wise decision, Max, to not start on the hard compound. I do expect a handful of drivers to do so.
Yeah, I think it will be more a medium soft race. There's not much tire wear around this circuit on this game, so I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a few drivers switch over to the soft compound of tyres and try to take those to the end of the Grand Prix. They do last for a good 10 laps at the very least around this circuit. The mediums can last about 20 or so. So it's going to be interesting to see how the drivers do face this strategic challenge. Of course, a big factor is going to be that strategy. That is where this race could be won or lost, because this is very much a bit like Hungary. It's a Monaco without the walls. So you're very close to those track limits. You're very close to the extremities of this circuit, and it's very easy to just put a wheel on the grass and put it into the barrier or just off into the gravel. So drivers now on to the grid. Lighty, of course, your pole man, with Campbell Adams lining up alongside him. It's the man fourth in the standings, in front of the man who's leading the way. 7 points separate the top two in this race. Well, on the grid, and that is all it takes. That race win for Lighty will take him level on points if he does not get the fastest lap with Campbell Adams, and that is going to be absolutely so crucial this evening. It's just making sure Lighty capitalizes on his rival's misfortune and just try and stay in front of Campbell Adams. And the same goes for Campbell Adams, but we're about to get underway, Myth, so take us away.
So already have 5 red lights on. And we're on our way with a great start on the inside for Campbell Adams. That will give him an opportunity to outbrake Lighty on the outside. It looks like we're going to have a send down in that first turn, but can he keep it ahead? Campbell Adams and Lighty almost side by side ending into Kerlock, but Lighty does keep it ahead with a better exit out of turn 1. And it looks like his mediums have proven to be a little bit better. Most of the front runners on the mediums, as Exafox already made up a position. He's ahead of Chris Bertsinski, although they go pretty much side by side into Skyblock, and it looks like Exafox has kept it ahead, has pushed Chris a little wide so that he couldn't go for a send there, because turn 7 really isn't a turn where you go side by side, but into turn 9 you can't do so. And once again, they were side by side. Exafox still just ahead, but Chris really knocking on his door once more, wants to get by, using a lot of ERS as he's heading towards the chicane. As we see up ahead, Kick Sauber fighting with Isaac Lee, as Adam Schumer has now gone through. Behind, Dimas is up into 9th, also made up a position, but looks like our drivers have come through fairly unscathed, and gives us a little bit of time to see the positions change. It's 2 gain for Adam Schumer, 2 for Bogdan Moldovan as well, who's now up in P7, 3 loss for Chris, as he's now falling down a little bit more, but also crucially for Dimas, made up 2 positions and now in P10.
Yeah, nice start there from Exafox, Dimas, Moldovan and Schumer. Of course, Schumer and Moldovan both on the soft compounded tyre. They're on the red-walled tyre, and this is really what is giving them such an advantage in these early stages of the Grand Prix. Just look at the Sauber all over the back of the Mercedes driver of Daniel Gottschalk as we now head through turns 8 and now up into turn 9. Will he get close enough for a move into the chicane like we saw him do on Isaac Lee? No, he's going for it now into turn 10. Really opportunistic. That was a late send to the inside line. Caught Gottschalk napping, and straight through goes Adam Schumer. He's now turning his attention to Campbell Adams up in front of him. Just look at the purchase, the grip difference he has at this stage of the Grand Prix. Give it a few more laps, that pendulum will swing back into the medium runner's favours. But DRS now open as we head down this main straight once more. Here comes Campbell Adams on Lighty, a routine switch, you would think, between the top 2, but you can't count out the kick. Sauber is going for a really late lunge once again, catching another driver napping. This time it's Lighty. He's going to fight it up into turn 2. Lighty will back out of it. That's the smart option from the Alpine, but those soft tyres really being put to good use here by Adam, and he's now 1 place away from this race lead. And if he's able to get past Campbell Adams at a very good point, maybe at turn 1 on the next lap, we could see him by turn 9 maybe try and break that 1 second barrier.
Yeah, let's see in the meantime if the second soft runner in Bogdan Moldovan is also able to complete that overtake on Exafox. Was very close heading towards turn 8, but lost a little bit of time there, didn't get through the corner the cleanest. as he's now once again within 2/10 of Xfox. Look how close he gets towards the chicane. Oh, it's a big moment for Xfox, who makes a proper slide and then invites a Ferrari of Alessandro Finn alongside of the Haas of Chris Bierczynski, but it looks like Bogdan has started to get behind a little bit. But let's go more up towards the front of the grid, because Adam Schumer is now pulling alongside Campbell Adams, and it's Adam Schumer who's taken over the race lead. Lighty's going to follow him, so Campbell loses 2 in one straight there, but that's not the biggest issue. The big thing now is to stay in touch with Adam Schumer. Don't let him pull away until over a second, but a short track like this will be very, very difficult to do so, as further down the line everyone is still within DRS range of one another, but Gottschalk awfully close to Campbell Adams up ahead.
He really is. Of course, Campbell not having that DRS really puts him at risk down that main straight. It's now put him at risk once again to Daniel Gottschalk behind. So, for the Mercedes driver, is he going to look for a lunge? That Adam Schumer did to him. Only a few laps to go into turn 10. No, he will not. It's half a second between the top 2 as well in this train. So Adam really is pushing hard. He's trying to break that gap, trying to get that DRS range, trying to get out, of that DRS window. And you can see he's now up to 7/10 of a second. Those soft tyres not dropping off just yet. A little bit of understeer for the Kick Sauber through turn 13. You've noticed that a lot so far through the likes of turn 13 and turn 7. The somewhat faster, longer corners, he really does struggle with that front end. It's not biting up the way he wanted to. The gap between him and Lighty brought down to 2/10 of a second, then straight back up to 4 by the time they exit out of Tarzan, and now into turn 3 they go. And once again, it's nose to tail through everyone behind Lighty here. Every slipstream is so powerful, especially from turn 3 all the way through to that turn 9 complex of corners. We'll see what the soft tyre runners can do. Bogdan Moldovan not making as much progress as F40 would. I would have expected him by Xfox at this stage of the Grand Prix, but unfortunately for him, he has not done that so far. A little bit of a mistake from Campbell Adams, but DRS open once more for the rest of the field. We'll see if Adam Schumer is going to be able to hold on to this race lead much longer, and when will those soft tyres start to degrade.
I do expect the softs starting to degrade around lap 7 or 8, so they still have a little bit of time to get by, but Bogdan will need to make a move quickly if he does want to do so. Has about half of his ERS left, is using quite a bit now, at least heading on to the main straight, but then opts not to use any more, so he's going to stay behind in P7 for a time being, as we saw Gottschalk go a little wide through Tarzan. Now, just a nice background story about Turn 1, about Tarzan, where some people might think it's named after, well, the very famous and iconic movie Tarzan. It's actually named after the man who used to own the land. It was a farmer, but the thing with the farmer was he had a bit of a peculiar appearance, very wild hair, so to speak. So he had the nickname Tarzan because he was quite a big man as well, as we see Chris Bierczynski now trying to make a way through Bogdan Moldovan. He tried to do this before in turn 9, and also this time it will not work out, but really starting to amp up the pace now onto Bogdan Moldovan, again having a little look at the chicane, but ups against it. But yeah, that's how turn 1 has got its name. I think it's quite a nice background story, Max, to see how a turn can be named, not after a movie, but just after a man who looks a bit wild.
Yeah, it certainly is nice to see when circuits do that with a local resident of the circuit and someone who everybody knows around the area. But Campbell Adams nearly getting overtaken there by Daniel Gottschalk. I feel like those soft tyres of Adam Schumer and Moldovan really are starting to drop off that cliff. Last time, that gap between Schumer and Lighty out of turn 10 was only 4/10 of a second, where we've seen over the past few laps it's been 7/10 of a second. So he really is starting to struggle here. Is the Kick Sauber. This time around, Lighty did not go for the move up into turn 1. I was quite surprised by that. He could have had a car between himself and Campbell Adams, or maybe just waiting a little bit longer for those tyres to fade away just a little bit more, as Biedzinski has had a moment. He's still got his front wing. I don't know if that was contact with Bogdan Moldovan maybe going for a move, but he's now down to 11th place, and that's caused a little bit of a ruckus. Further back, here comes Alessandro Finn on Dennis Langrock. They're going to go side by side through turn 11 and 12. Nicely done by Finn. There's a little bit of contact, nearly both cars off into the wall. They've somehow kept the cars in a straight line. It'll be DRS open for the pair of them. What about further up? Is Lighty going for it this time around? Yes, he is. Will Cam inside is your championship leader on the kick Sauber of Adam Schummer. They're going to be side by side on the corner exit. Not able to get that move done though is Campbell Adams, and Adam Schummer lives to fight another day in second, and there's contact between the Mercedes and the Williams driver. Luckily for Campbell Adams, he's able to hold on as they're slowly bringing that power back on through turn 3, but that's brought a little bit of a buffer to the kick Sauber behind, and now in that slipstream he's able to save those tyres and just sit behind Lighty and be carried along in that slipstream. So we'll have to now wait and see how those soft tyres do. And Bogdan Moldovan finally getting past Exafox, who's now under pressure from Dimas. Taps the back of Moldovan, allowing the Red Bull to go around the outside. A beautiful move. If Dimas is able to hold on here, he can capitalise brilliantly on his rival's misfortune. He moves up into 7th place. And I think Exafox got on the grass as well, so he's really had his feathers rustled. And Exafox dropping down the field. He's now got Kai right behind him, looking to pounce on any opportunity.
Great race so far by Alexander Dimas. Had a bit of a lackluster performance in qualifying. Couldn't do better than P12 there, but has already made his way up into 7th. And that is all with some quite nice overtakes. And he is definitely looking for some more, because ahead of him, Bogdan Moldovan on the offset strategy will have a slightly easier time trying to overtake him in the next couple of laps. So let's go on board with him as we make our way through now turn 5 and 6, which is Slotermaker, and then Skyvlog, another corner which has a great background story to it. But more about that hopefully later, as Dimas is now through 8 and into 9. He does see that Moldovan is starting to struggle a little bit, but I'm also starting to look if I'm seeing any spots on my screen, and I'm not sure if that's because of the clouds that we have, or if we have any impending weather changes. But at least towards the back of the circuit, it looks fairly clean. But if I look a little bit more to what would be the CISO that's left of your start-finish straight, it looks like the clouds are a little bit darker, as we can see quite nicely now, making our way through 14.
Yeah, the rain could still play a big factor. It can come very late in this race. Here comes Lighty, here comes Campbell Adams as well. Is he going to go for both drivers into turn 1? No, just did not have the overspeed for that. Able to get past Adam Schummer though. Gottschalk, who was defending from Isaac Lee, now looking to opportunistically go for a move on the kick Sauber as well. But it seems like once Lighty gets back ahead, Adam Schummer then drops another place further down, and then we could maybe see him drop behind Daniel Gottschalk this time. But for Adam Schummer, he's on that soft compound cut on everybody else. I was just up. Oh, I think I just had a little bit of a lag spike there. Isaac Lee went straight on my end. Luckily, that was just an issue for me and not himself. And the McLaren is still able to fight another day. Just look how close it is, though, further back between Dimas and Exafox. The Aston Martin pushing the Red Bull through turns 9 and 10. Just not able to get close enough for a lunge to the inside into turn 11 or 12, though. The soft tyre runners will be coming in soon for a set of the mediums. They'll get that undercut, as I was saying before, that moment for Isaac Leet. And they will get that undercut, get in front, but the drivers on the softs will be chasing them down very quickly. And here we are then, a swap for the race lead. Here comes Lighty on Campbell Adams. Schummer's going to follow him through. That's late on the break from Adam Schummer. There's contact. Campbell Adams sent into a slide. Lighty picks up front wing damage. It's disaster for the Alpine. Lucky escape for the Williams driver, and that's crucial. And another piece of contact. Lighty now sent it to a spin. Campbell Adams off the road. It's mayhem here in Zandvoort. Isaac Lee now takes the race lead. Exafox up into 2nd place. Lighty down to 3rd. Kai up to 4th as well. Drivers swapping places everywhere you look, and crucially, your championship leader down to 13th place behind his rivals in this championship. Isaac Lee now getting overtaken by Fox. They're 2 by 2. It's Noah's Ark heading into turn 10. You would think this is the opening lap of the Grand Prix. By the way, everybody's spaced out on the circuit, but Brzezinski able to get past Bogdan Moldovan, and it all kicks off from a slight bit of contact from Adam Schummer on to Campbell Adams at turn 1, then again through turn 2, and that caused absolute pandemonium, and the man who was 7th heading on to that previous lap now leads this Grand Prix. He's going to swap places with Isaac Lee, but an absolutely chaotic lap 11 of 36, and that could have big indications on this championship rundown out of this evening.
And in the meantime, Lucas Beisner has also gone past Dimas, who's having a lot of contact with him into turn 2 and 3, wants to make the send down the inside. It looks like he might have the quicker line heading out of 3. Side by side they go through 4 and 5. This is not the area where you want to be side by side. It looks like Dimas has decided to back off there. Would have been too risky to stay alongside. And he does keep it on track now, but where his progress was going quite well, after that contact up ahead, he has fallen back a little bit more as Gottschalk has tried to make yet another move on the driver up ahead. This time it is Bogdan Moldovan who he's fallen behind of after that contact in turn 1, but we've had chaos ensue, but for one man it has really worked out well, and that is, oh, what? Wait, what?
Are you seeing what I'm seeing?
Yeah?
Did I just see?
Did I just see two cars in one another?
Why has this update brought us back to F1 22? Was it when we had that issue?
I thought for a moment we were at 2021 Monza, but it looks like we're still driving.
Oh my god, yes, it would have been 21 Monza as well with the Mercedes and the Red Bull, but yeah, that.
Oh,
really
Dimas! Dimas is spot
no.
coming out of 2, and it's a yellow flag in sector 1. And Dimas finds himself in P14, a little bit too aggressive, trying to get past Beisner once more. And through Gerlach, he's thrown it away, now in P14, really needs a safety car later down the line. But that is heartbreak for the man fighting so hard to get back into the championship fight.
Yeah, it really is. That's really drastic for Alexander Dimas, and that's a sigh of relief coming out of the Williams of Campbell Adams, because Alexander Dimas, of course, the driver closest to Campbell Adams in this championship standings, and he is now dropped behind the Williams man. So that's one car down. He's still got the likes of Lighty and Exafox, who are very, very close in that championship fight, who he needs to have a little bit of misfortune in this Grand Prix. But for Campbell Adams, currently sitting in 13th place, no points will be scored as we have another swap for that race lead. Isaac Lee getting back past Exafox once again. This really has worked into McLaren's hands as Kai's now up into 3rd place on those softs. There was a swap between the two kick Salbers of Taylor Bournes and Adam Schummer as we head into Tarzan as well. But unfortunately for Lighty, I don't think he's going to be able to hold on to this pole position, just like he weren't able to hold on to it at Silverstone. He picked up that front wing damage, and Miff around this circuit, having that loss of downforce points, I think it's around about 30 points worth of downforce with a missing end plate. That really is such a huge loss, and really does amount to a big pace deficit over the course of a lap.
Yeah, he's already down 1.3, almost 1.4, just in a corner, loses about a 10th. Is now behind Beisner, but this really means you're going to lose about 4 or 5 tenths every lap, so it's not really worth stopping earlier for, but it is enough damage to swap your front wing for, even though that's going to send you towards the back of the grid even further. So we will have to hope for a little bit of intervention from above with a safety car to help him out. As we see that Kai and Bogdan Moldovan have gone into the pit. The soft runners are now starting to make their pit stops as Daniel Farinelli picks up the first penalty of today, 3 seconds for track limits that he's had exceeded, as we're starting to see more and more gaps emerge throughout the track. Adam Schummer has also stopped. Teammate Theo Bones is still staying out for one more lap, but I think for the medium runners will be coming in around lap 20, maybe a little bit sooner, but as you indeed said, Max, I think they'll be switching for the softs later on. So as long as they can keep a nice pace on those mediums, they will be continuing on doing so. And I think one of the drivers I'll have to try something different is most definitely Lighty, who is now closely behind Theo Bones. And that might be a saving grace for him, because the man ahead on those older softs will be easier for him to stay in touch despite the wing damage, and that will at least grant him the DRS that he so desperately needs to keep the drivers behind him at bay.
Yeah, it really will help Lighty when it comes to just keeping with the rest of the field, but it's still going to be an immense struggle for the rest of this race. With Kai Moldovan coming in, that really has allowed the top 5 to just stretch their legs. And what we just said about Lighty, we can now throw into the bin, because Theo Bones has just come into the pit lane. He was able to hold on down this main straight to 2 Scarlet Red Ferraris going side by side. The prancing horses of Alessandro Finn and Menno now battling over 7th and 8th place respectively behind that Alpine of Lighty. 3.2 seconds is the gap between the top 5 and Lighty as it currently stands. Campbell Adams now looking for a move on one of the Scuderia. There's a little bit of contact made between Menno and Alessandro Finn, causing the lead Ferrari to ghost ever so slightly through turn 7. And now into turn 8. Once again, just Menno not having that pace to keep with Lighty through turns 9 and 10. But we'll see now on the exit. Will he have that power? No, he has a bit of a correction mid-corner, and that drops him off enough. So Lighty will live to fight another day into turns 11 and 12. But surely, just surely, you think he will end up losing this place here down the main straight to the Ferrari behind. And maybe we could see both the prancing horses gallop by on the Alpine. So it'll be DRS open as we head down that main straight. Another routine switch between Exafox and Isaac Lee. There goes Menno. Here comes Alessandro Finn as well. Would he even go for his teammate? He's looking for the lunge. Just a little bit of contact between the Alpine and the Ferrari as Finn slides up over the Alpine of Lighty. They're still side by side into turn 2. A little bit of contact made. Alessandro Finn, you can count your lucky stars, because that would have been absolute disaster if he did not back out of that move within the last 2 seconds of it being made.
That's some great defending by Lighty as well. Despite having that wing damage, only having one driver overtake you with DRS on that start-finish straight is quite impressive. I thought he was going to lose 2, if not 3 there, as we see a late move, a little look on the inside for Alessandro Finn into 9. Now in 10, he's going to make that dive. There's a little bit of contact between the 2 drivers, but they keep their cars facing the right direction as it now invites Dimas to start to get alongside Campbell Adams. Remember, these 2 drivers were about, separated by about a second and a half before, after Dimas had that moment coming out of turn 2. But he's now fully made up that time. And now we see Lighty again, 1.2 seconds behind Menno. No DRS for him. This will be smooth sailing for Alessandro Finn, and maybe for Campbell Adams as well, as he's going to go around the outside. 3-man wide, they go into Tarzan, but it is Campbell Adams backing off of it. But will Alessandro Finn stay ahead, because they're still side by side? I think this time he is at the right way. They're still going side by side, and Lighty sends it down the inside, and once again, no time through for Alessandro Finn, but now it's Dimas along the inside into 5. This is a very risky move out of 6, but he's ahead. He's made 2 passes at the start of this lap, and some great driving by Dimas moves him up to 8, and now round the outside of 8. I've never seen anyone do that.
That was bold, it was brave, and it was absolutely beautiful from Alexander Dimas to pull off those moves and round the outside of turn 8, take a bow. That is certainly a contender for overtake of the season with that move. Yes, Lighty had front wing damage, but to have the commitment to think your car will stick on 17 lap old mediums around the outside on the marbles through there and not go onto that outside curb like we saw Exafox do in qualifying, that took absolute determination and balls of steel heading into turn 8. But there's contact between Lighty and Alessandro Finn. Campbell Adams just about sneaking through a car's width of a gap between the pit lane wall and the Alpine of Lighty. But Alessandro Finn, I think he just got a little bit too restless there, a little bit too agitated behind the Alpine of Lighty, and that really has just put both their races into the bin if Lighty's wasn't already. And for Alessandro Finn, you would expect a penalty on his way after Stewart's inquiries, but this is allowing the drivers that boxed early. We've not spoke about these drivers too much in this Grand Prix, but of Bogdan Moldovan and Kai to slowly sneak up to the back of this train of cars from Alexander Dimas down to Alessandro Finn, and they will be looking to put them into their rear view mirrors. And Alessandro Finn seeming to already get out of the way of Kai before we even exit out of turn 12.
Yeah, had a big moment exit of turn 12, so before 13 already had one coming through, and now he's going to dive it into the pit lane as well. I think his tires are pretty much done for, but it's a fairly early pit stop that he has to go for now. Pretty much the edge of what you can go for if you're now switching to the soft. 16 more laps that he will have to do on them, but for Alessandro Finn, I think it was wise he gave back the position to Lighty, because we saw that move. The move was not on, punted him from the back. Definitely going to be a slam dunk penalty if reported, and yeah, it's just sad to see that the race is not working out for Alessandro Finn as he was hoping for, and the same goes for Lighty after picking up that front wing damage, really not helping him out either. But look at that, Lighty is already facing drivers from behind. Look at that, down the inside goes Kai into 9, but then around both is Bogdan Moldovan, who wants to go round the outside of 10, and he takes 2 in one go. Take a bow for him, as he's now the first of the runners that have made a pit stop. So great pace by the medium runners. The other drivers on subs will still need to make a pit stop. They're going to do so now. At least Gottschalk will be the first to do so. I'm very curious to see where he's going to come out in comparison to all the other drivers, but I think he'll be coming out behind Theo Bones, just in front of Adam Schumer. And with about 6-7 seconds that he has to close on those softs, that might be a gap that he can't overcome.
It certainly could be, but those softs will have an abundance of pace like we saw with Adam Schumer at the start of this Grand Prix. Gottschalk, is he just going to get ahead? That would be crucial if he is, and yes, he is just ahead. He's got to gain 4 seconds on the cars in front. Of course, he'll be helped a little bit on at least Farinelli because he does have Lighty in front of him through this middle part of the lap. But that gap already down to 3.7 by the time we reach turn number 7 on this circuit. And this is now where the hunters become the hunted. The predators become the prey. And we'll see how quickly the soft runners catch up to Kai and Bogdan Moldovan. That's a big moment there for Lighty in front of Farinelli. I think that was all just getting on the grass into the corner and unfortunately locking the rears. Farinelli deep as well into turn 12 and 11, but everyone else now coming into the pit lane. So let's see where Isaac Leet, Exafox, Beninsky, Lucas Baisner all come out in relation to those medium runners, especially Kai and Bogdan Moldovan, who have just swapped places down that main straight. So, we all eyes turn to Isaac Leet heading out the pit lane. Has Gottschalk done the ultimate undercut? Yes, he has. Coming out of the pit lane. And I think Theo Bourne has jumped them as well. Yeah. Yes, he has. Theo has also jumped them. So, for Daniel Gottschalk, this could be a big few laps with the Kick Sauber holding up the rest of the field, and he can now start to streak clear. That gap already 1.5 seconds. So for Daniel, this is going to be absolutely crucial to maintain this gap, streak away, and in 2 races, we could see 2 drivers take their second win to the season.
Yeah, Gottschalk really needs to use a bit of his ERS now to try and pull away. He has about 65% left, but if you look behind, Bones is at 1.5. Isaac Leet and Exafox are going to clear him very, very quickly. They're going to do so into turn 1. And by that point, Gottschalk wants to have at least a buffer of about 2 seconds so that he won't have to worry about the drivers behind him closing up too soon before he closes up with Bogdan Moldovan and Kai, who are currently in the lead of the race as Menno, the Baver, has now come into the pit lane. As I think Bogdan's actually going to stay behind Kai for the time being. But remember, the gap with Gottschalk was just over 4 seconds, now 3.8, so they have closed in by about half a second. And where I thought Gottschalk was going to be at least 7 or 8 seconds away, that gap was a lot less than we first anticipated, and it's now brought down to 3.5. Isaac Leet is about those 2 seconds away I was talking about, so that is good pace managing by Gottschalk, but it looks like that undercut is really proving to be important for him and will give him first dips on trying to overtake the drivers up ahead. But we still have 13 laps left to go, And towards the end of this race, those mediums, especially in the final few laps, are going to be the better time. So have Kai and Bogdan Moldovan cooked on the strats, or will they have to concede to the soft runners? I think we're going to find out in not too long from now.
Yes, we certainly will. And for Bogdan Moldovan, not only could he be our first double winner of the season, be able to pull this one off against Kai, he could be our first driver to win 3 this season. And that will really put him into title contention. He said last week in his post-race interview he is feeling very comfortable. He's feeling very strong on this game after taking a short break over last season. And he has come back with a vengeance. And now, Exafox setting the fastest lap of this Grand Prix. He overtakes Isaac Leet down into turn 1. These two can work together to catch up to Daniel Gottschalk in front, who's brought that gap to the cars in front down by about a second over the last lap and a half. So for Gottschalk, he really is starting to put those soft tyres to good use. And if Exafox and Isaac Leet do catch up, they will all work together to catch up to Kai and Bogdan Moldovan. Of course, we're on lap 24 of 36. We still have 12 and a half laps left in this Grand Prix, so it is still all to play for here in the dunes of Zandvoort. That gap now 2.7 seconds between Gottschalk and Kai. Isaac Leet, Exafox and Beninsky all squabbling it out as Beninsky actually makes a huge error through at turn 10, and that has dropped him out of DRS range from Isaac Leet in front. So for the Haas driver, he's now under pressure from the Mercedes of Lucas Baesner, but still these drivers can work together as well to catch up to the cars in front as Kai's going to get past Moldovan once again with that DRS. We could see a total of 7 cars squabbling it out here around Zandvoort for that race victory come lap 36 if the other two of Beninsky and Baesner are able to close that gap to the 3 cars in front.
And it looks like quickest man on track currently is Campbell Adams, and that's with a fair margin as well, as he's starting to close up to the kick Saubers of Adam Schumer and Theo Bones. Will need to dispatch them, and that still has quite a bit of time to overcome. For Gottschalk, he's gaining on the drivers up ahead by over half a second a lap, so he will close in just before lap 30 with the front 2 runners, and by that time Isaac Leet and Exafox will also be in touch. Chris Bertsinski is just breaking into the 1 second barrier. We'll give him DRS in a moment, and that will surely help out his bid. But also Lucas Baesner, who is 6/10 away from him, and it looks like he already has the DRS heading towards the Hans Ernst chicane. So that is great news for Chris, who's also doing quite a bit quicker than his previous fast lap. And that on 3-lap Old Soft shows that he is starting to push a little bit, but he needs to if he wants to be within striking distance of the drivers up ahead. In the meantime, Gottschalk, the gap to Kai, 2.7 seconds, but Isaac Leet has managed to get by, and so has Exafox, and that means now the gap towards the drivers up ahead, 2.4 seconds, still coming down by about half a second, but I think by now it's going to curb down a little bit, but will still be held by the use of that DRS that we're going to see on the main straight.
Yeah, we'll see that come down more and more as this race progresses. 2 seconds heading through turn 7 now. 3 tenths between that top 2, and this race so crucial for the championship as well. Moldovan, Leet, Exafox, Gottschalk, all within an opportunity this evening to walk away with that championship lead. So this race is oh so crucial to add to your championship challenge. And more than likely, we will see our second double winner of the season. Exafox, of course, winning the first round of the season out in Australia. We then had the win for Isaac Leet in Belgium. The win for Gottschalk was a brilliant drive in Texas. And for Bogdan Moldovan, we already know he won in Qatar and Silverstone. There goes the move for Exafox on Isaac Leet. Is Gottschalk going to try following through? No, he will not. Heading through turn 1 as we head now out into turns 2 and 3. Campbell Adams able to get past Theo Bournes. This is Alexander Dimas going to follow him through on both the kick Sauber. There's contact between him and Adam Schumer. This can allow Menno to also get past the kick Sauber, but that was crucial contact, luckily avoiding any crucial plays into the wall or off into the gravel trap. But Alexander Dimas getting very aggressive, sees his championship rival out in front. He needs to outscore him. And for Alexander Dimas, he's now going to try go around the outside of turn 7. We saw it around the outside of turn 8 through turn 7. That is unheard of, Alexander Dimas. He is on fire with these overtakes this evening. And the man currently sitting second in the standings, is taking all the risks he can to try and gain back some crucial points in this championship challenge, as him and Campbell Adams will certainly not be leading coming out this evening of Zandvoort. But wow, what a move that was from Alexander Dimas. He's done it round the outside through turn 8. Check that one off the list. Now check turn 7 off the list round the outside.
Yeah, and I think that perfectly fits in with the name that Turn 7 has. Turn 7 called Schijfvlak, but if you translate that word into English, it's more or less the separation zone. And how the Dutch commentator always worded out nicely, it is as we have big contact into Turn 1 with Menno de Beef and Theo Bons, it is the it's where boys and men are separated, as they put it always so nicely in the coverage, and I think that's something that we saw here well. Alexander Dimas showing what a big man he is, a big driver he is, going round the outside in turn 7, making that overtake stick. So a great way to show to that legacy of turn 7, where it really is trying to take as much speed as you can going through that corner, just not flat out there, but you're not far off from it at all, as we're now seeing that he and Campbell Adams have an 8-second gap to overcome before they head up closer with Lucas Beisner. But now your top 7 in one DRS window. Kai is still leading it, Bogdan Moldovan second, but look at Exafox within a 10th now of everyone else, and 3 men behind into turn 1 they go, and now Exafox is leading the race for the second time, but the first time after this pit stop sequence, and the soft runners have managed to overcome the medium runners, but will they make it stick? We're at lap 29 out of 36, and Exafox is starting to pull away a little bit.
He certainly is, and this could be crucial for Exafox in the championship. Of course, got those penalties in Canada and Belgium, which really desettled and derailed his championship challenge for a few rounds, but he's back on firing form, and this could be oh so crucial for his championship standings and to take back a huge confidence boost into the next few rounds. He's 6 tenths clear of Kai heading into turns 11 and 12. And Isaac Lee and Gottschalk also squabbling for position, but they can't do that within themselves. They need to get past the medium runners ASAP, and they need to do that by just working together through this train. So DRS open now for Isaac Lee behind Bogdan Moldovan. He's using that battery to try and bring that gap down between him and the V-Carb in front. Kai not getting close enough to Moldovan. Isaac Lee looking to the inside line, not able to get by just yet, and this is looking ever more likely falling into Exafox's hands. Well, at 30 of 36, Exafox really starting to try and extend his legs at the front, trying to push away from the rest of the field. But that slipstream, oh so powerful, up into turn 7, brings that gap all the way back down. He needs to put those soft tyres to good use, but they really will start to feel the pain at this stage of the Grand Prix. They'll really be hitting the cliff. So if Kai and Moldovan can stay within that DRS range come the end of this Grand Prix, it certainly could be a 3-man dash at the end of this one, and who will come out on top? Exafox currently looking likely. He's now 7 tenths clear. He really is trying to just extend that margin ever so slightly, but still, with the DRS behind, Moldovan, Kai and Leet can all work together to make sure they stay within it.
Yeah, in the meantime, I want to take a quick look over at Lighty to see... Oh, a big moment by Lighty! Oh man, we literally just cut to him and saw him spin off. He already had front wing damage. That was on his right hand side, seen from driver POV. So looks like he has switched his front wing, but it's now got front wing and plate damage on the other side. So Lighty's race really ruined there, despite starting on pole position. The first time it was due to none of his fault, as he was involved in contact, but this time definitely out on his own, but really at a moment where it did not matter anymore. So I do think he is going to dive it into the pit lane, as we have Kurs Bertsinski having quite a good fight with Bogdan Moldovan. Bogdan Moldovan has to watch out now, wants to go around the inside out of turn 9, almost making contact with Chris. Down the inside come the Mercedes of Lucas Beisner, and Bogdan Moldovan's been passed by 2 drivers in the space of just 2 corners.
He has, a Moldovan. This race could just be getting away from him at this stage of the Grand Prix, and that could be the end of that challenge for a third race victory. And in the last 3 starts of his PSGL PCF4 season. Of course, he won in Qatar, did not show up for Silverstone, and then came straight back in Silverstone with a bang. But unfortunately, I don't think he'll get free on the bounce in the last 3 races he's participated in. Kai, though, on his medium, still holding on well out in front. He's second place as it currently stands, with his teammate Isaac Lee just behind. Of course, he could help his teammate in this championship battle by letting him through. But Kai, still within the championship battle himself, he's not too far off the championship leader, Campbell Adams, into this evening. He is a total of, actually he's in front of his teammate Isaac Lee in the championship standings. He is 11 points behind, so for Kai, he really is the one in the driving seat for the Papaya outfit of McLaren this evening. But Isaac Lee still looking ever so racy to get by. 17-lap-old mediums versus 10-lap-old softs. They'll be feeling around about the same at this stage of the Grand Prix. But crucially, they're still just within Exafox's DRS range. But surely now, the 2 Papaya think about around. Here comes Isaac Leet to the inside of Kai. He's getting closer to Exafox as we head into turn 1. And the 2 McLarens do finally switch. And this is now game on between Isaac Leet and Exafox as we start lap 33 of 36. We have 4 laps to go here in the sand dunes. Who will come out on top?
And further down the line, Menno is having quite the fight with Theo Boons. They've fallen quite out of contention for a spot in the points. Adam Schumer now 3.5 seconds ahead of him. For Campbell Adams and Alexander Demas, they've not been getting up ahead, but we have a yellow flag, and it's Kai who is spun on exit of turn 7. So he is now out of the fight. He was well on his way to really close down the gap with him and championship leader for now, Campbell Adams. But looks like Exafox is having a real laugh out there tonight. He was third in the standings, is now leading the race, and he's poised to retake that championship lead. But if Campbell Adams can get through on Kai, he will at least make sure that that point deficit is going to be cut a little less of a margin that Exafox probably would have wanted. But I think Kai's tires are going to be pretty done after this. We have 3 laps remaining with the front of the grid already having passed start-finish straight, but Campbell Adams surely now is going to come through. A very early move on him already. There comes Dimas as well. Down the inside he goes. And for Kai, no way to defend against these soft runners as he drops down to 9. As Bones and Menno de Bever are having a real fight there. Side by side they go towards turn 2. This is when very easy to go off the track. Menno still keeps it down the inside line. Side by side through 3, and out of exit 3 they go. Through 4 and 5, but I think now finally, no, they're still side by side. Theo Bones is not giving up, but Menno has finally gotten past through in turn 7. But now we'll have to keep that kick Sauber behind as we're going to move back up to the front of the grid as they're already through Hansdown chicane. We just have a little over 2 laps remaining. Exafox has been leading for quite a while now with nobody really contesting him on the main straight. But will he be able to keep Isaac Lee behind, or will he have to do some overtaking moves in the final few laps? Final 2 going in now.
Yep, here we are then. The start of the final 2 laps of this chaotic Dutch Grand Prix. It has been absolute drama from the get-go. And what really decided this race was what happened on lap 11. That multi-car collision, that multi-car pile-up that caused many a driver to fall down the field and drivers to go 2 by 2 through what seemed like the majority of the lap. So, Exafox, he's holding on for now, but is Isaac Lee just thinking about waiting for an attack? A little bit of DRS games after a mistake there from the Aston Martin as we now head through turn 10. Isaac Lee will still have the DRS. He's got to look out for Daniel Gottschalk behind as well, though. He isn't too safe just yet. Heading into turn 12 and 11. This is now all about corner exit out of turn 13. We could still have a drag race to the line here, folks. Coming out of turn 13 next time around. DRS open then for the penultimate time down this main straight. Here we go then. Isaac Lee getting closer in that slipstream, looking to the outside line, heading into turn 1. Here comes Gottschalk to the inside as well. There's contact between the Aston Martin and the Mercedes. A slide for Gottschalk as we exit out of Tarzan, and Exafox holds on to second place. But that's for now as we head through turn 3. Gottschalk trying that inner side line and trying to just pry that gap open between himself and the curb, but not able to get by just yet. As we're now heading through turn 7, Exafox really pushing the limits, really trying to extract everything from this soft compounded tyre. Isaac Leet now going really slowly through turns 9 and 10, saving as much battery as he possibly can to make a defence down that main straight and down here through into turns 11 and 12. I think Gottschalk is just a little bit too far back to make an impression at this stage of the final lap. It's going to be all down to Isaac Lee and Exafox. Exafox, of course, the man who led this championship at the start of the season. He's been so unlucky with the penalties. It'll be brilliant to see him come back to the front. It's DRS Open through the banking. Leet defends aggressively to the inside. Who's coming out on top? It's Isaac Leet who wins here in Sanford. It's a dead heat at the line. The McLaren comes out on top. He is our second double winner of the season. And wow, what a way to end off a dramatic Grand Prix. The Papaya Man comes out on top. The Orange Army will be happy with that one, but that will be the McLaren Orange Army who will be happy with that. And he brings himself within championship contention, and he will be only a few points away from that championship lead. But Exafox will be your new championship leader after that one. A brilliant drive here in the sand dunes, and the man who started this season off so strongly, that middle slump of form, that dip in performance is now over. The Aston Martin back up to the top of the field.
Yeah, and played also well by Isaac Lead, who waited and waited and waited before he wanted to get past Exafox. He did it at the right moment, had just enough of ERS left on that start-finish straight, and with 0.02 of a second, he keeps behind that Aston Martin and allows himself to be the second driver to be repeat winner this season and really put himself up in that championship fight. But for Exafox, he will be your new championship leader. Gottschalk coming through in third. Another podium from him. Great result. Only 0.6 away from the man up in front. Then it's Beisner's teammate in fourth, followed by Chris Bierczynski in fifth. Great result for the Haas driver. Then it's Bogdan Moldovan. Campbell Adams still beating Alexander Dimas down to the wire, and with fastest lap going to get an extra point, which will surely help him out too. Dimas then 8th, then it's Kai who had that moment later on, and Adam Schumer picking up that final point. But sadly for Lighty, the man who started on pole, finishing on 14th, not going to be scoring more than 1 point for that pole position he had, and with that losing the championship lead for the time being. But Max, with still quite a few races to go, the fight is still on. It's surely still on, but we're going to see these kind of changes happen more and more often, especially when next week we have another high-paced track in the name of Saudi.
Yeah, we certainly will. It's going to be ever-changing, this championship. And wow, what end of the season we're going to have in store. It'll be 4 races from next week. We'll, of course, have that festive break, and then it'll be a 3-race dash to the end of the season. But what a performance from Exafox to put himself in that championship lead. But it is still very closely contested. Of course, Campbell Adams and Dimas did score some necessary points that they need to make sure Exafox doesn't really run away with things up the top. Same with Isaac Leet as well. He'll be hot on the Aston Martin's heels. Next few rounds of Saudi, as you've mentioned, Myth. That's going to be a very, very crucial round. Got to keep that one out of the walls. That one certainly for most of these championship protagonists, just damage limitation. Don't want to get involved in any unnecessary incidents and be put in the wall, because that would be a very, very big dent in your championship challenge. Then we have Japan after that for round 10. That's after the festive break when we come back in the new year. and then we have Vegas, and then we'll end off in Bahrain. And it is looking to be a very, very exciting end to the season. Still, any of 7 drivers can win this championship, maybe even 8 or 9 with the gaps behind. And it could still go all the way down to the wire, and we could still see what would be a British touring car-esque championship finale, where we could have a total of 6 drivers heading into the finale with a chance of coming out on top.
Yeah, and if we quickly do the calculations, let me bring up the standings as of last race. I'll just make a quick calculation based on the provisional standings we had. Isaac Lead was on 33. If he gets that race win with 16 points added, he will move up to 49. For Lighty, he's only going to get 1 more. That will be 46. Exafox going to pick up 12 if nothing changes. That's 58. New championship leader. Campbell Adams finished in P7. That's 4 points. Plus the fastest lap is 5. It will be 57. So that is 1 point behind Exafox. For Dimas, he's going to pick up 3. That will be 53. So we will have... And Bogdan Moldovan, I believe he was 6th. So he's going to pick up 5. That'll be 49. So we will have 5 or 6. Yeah, Gottschalk also got quite far up there. He got the podium. That's 10. That's 47. So we're going to have about 5-6 drivers within 10 or 11 points of one another. And what we thought the championship fight was already close prior to this race, I think it's gone even closer, Max.
It certainly has. It's going to make it ever so much more. You've really got to have your rivals fall around you, and you have got to stay strong. It's going to be last man standing, really, into these races. And, of course, with this point system, it just makes things that little bit closer, because you can't extend by as much as you can with the 25 to 18 point system. Only 16 points for a race victory. Of course, Campbell Adams will get the... Lighty will get that point for pole position. That's what really helped him with this, with keeping within touching distance. But yeah, I mean, if someone like Alessandro Finn, Menno, or even Teo get a good result next time out, we could see another driver enter the fray for this championship battle. So it's still all to play for. 8 drivers, all within a fighting chance. And with the way it's going, I personally, Myth, I still see all 8 of them being in contention by the time we reach Bahrain.
I think so as well. There will be quite a few drivers that are still within the fight, and I think that is not going to queue down before we enter the final 2 rounds. And I think for Bahrain, we'll have quite a few drivers up within the championship fight unless something is going to change in the few races to come. But next week, we'll have the race in Saudi. That might be a deal breaker for some, but it will also be another opportunity for men to retake that championship lead that Exafox is now going to hold after this race here at Zandvoort, but might change once more after Saudi. And for Saudi, it will be driving home for Christmas, as they say, because then we have our festive break with 3 more races still to go in January. We head to Suzuka, then Japan, then it's in our race in the States before finding the championship finale in Bahrain. So some great races, and I think for now, Max, also the end to quite a thrilling evening. Don't see anyone waiting in the waiting room, but I think despite not having any rain or really any safety cars even, a very, very interesting race to watch.
Oh, it certainly was. That was entertaining throughout, and you could say a big factor for the championship with it swinging at Exafox as well. I know I said it heading on to the penultimate lap, but it really was that incident on lap 11 where the whole field pretty much got caught up, and it was all just about finding that gap. It was somewhat Lightning McQueen-esque from Exafox and Isaac Leak to just scooch their cars through into any gap that they see that's got a car's width. And that really did help them out on top here this evening. That was a big deciding moment for this evening, and what could be so crucial for the championship, and what potentially might have just dethroned Campbell Adams' whole championship charge, and maybe costing him the championship win himself.
Yeah, and the most interesting out of all that, Campbell Adams has been, I think, one of the most consistent drivers. He's been involved in a few times contact. This time it was, well, contact as well. That's cost him a bit. But he's been, at least based on total podiums, the most consistent driver. He's picked up 4 podiums, but crucially, he's one of the few, if not the only one. Well, actually, Lighty hasn't gone a race win either. But aside from that, 3 times the second step, 1 time third, but also no race win for Campbell Adams. Dimas has gone 1, Exafox has gone 1, Moldovan's gone 2, Gottschalk's gone 1, and Isaac Leet has got 1. So most of the drivers have gotten their race win, but maybe next time out in Saudi it will be delight for Campbell Adams, for him another chance to pick up his first reign of the season, first race win of the season, I should say, and also retake that championship lead. But more about that next week when we head to Saudi. For tonight, I think that's going to be it. Max, thank you very much once again for joining me in the commentary box. And just before the holiday break, I think we have one great race before we head into 2025.
Yeah, we will be having one more brilliant race here in this season, this year, should I say. And what a way to end it off. It will be fireworks in the lights. Saudi Arabia, the Desert Duel to finish off this season. And it could be a crucial one for the championship. This is make or break for the drivers on the fringes of chart. And if they're able to put it off successfully, we could see this go all the way down to the wire. 8 drivers still within, I would say, key contention for this one. We still have a few outside shots, but 8 drivers favourites to win this championship. Any one of them can do it, and that just makes everything so much more exciting. So, yeah, the dash in the desert, the Desert Duel, to end off the year and into the new year with an immense championship battle.
Yes, and that we will all see next week. And next week we'll be back on December 19th on your standard time. So it's 8 p.m. British Standard Time, 9 p.m. for the rest of your Europeans for round 9 on the Jeddah Kearney Street circuit. And me and Max will be able to welcome you once more to find out if that championship leader is going to change once more, or if it's going to stay put. Huge shout out as well to our main sponsor, GT Omega, and we'll be now heading to the outro. We'll see you again next week. Thank you so much for tuning in, and till Saudi.